It's testing 1, 2, 3. See if that line. Alright folks, it's looking good. Now I'd hoped to do this without any sort of distractions around, but I have these guys playing this game behind me, but I don't think you can really hear them, and I don't think they're going to really care what I'm talking about over here. So here's installment 1 of Gatelynomics. Gatelynomics 101, as it were. And so first off, this is a thing where I'm probably going to start doing it on unlisted. Might not, who knows. It's comment approval only. So I'm trying. I'd be happy if I only had like 10 or 20 people watching these Gatelynomics videos. So I guess I should give you a brief overview of where I'm coming from, and also what I have in mind when I say Gatelynomics. It's anecdotal. It's a lot of personal opinion, personal experience. I'm interested in other people's opinions and experiences. I guess the first law of Gatelynomics is Gatelynomics is better than regular economics. Guy, how do I explain this? I got that wrong. That's why I got kind of flustered. I'm like, that's not right. That's the second rule of Gatelynomics. The first rule of Gatelynomics is that you can understand economics. And the reason is that, like, you think, well, I can't understand economics. It's too mathematical. It's too removed. You need a degree. There's kind of a certain hoity-toityness to it, like, well, I studied economics for 4 years at whatever it is, so, you know, I guess your opinion doesn't count. And that's not the atmosphere I want here with the 10, 20, or maybe 30 people who actually may find this even remotely interesting. So something that occurred to me is that if you want a class of people to just accept their situation, if it's to your advantage somehow, the first thing to do is to change the language, to create a language those people don't understand. It creates, dare I say, a slave class. Now, I want to avoid using loaded words like slavery or Holocaust or God. Those are all words where once you throw them out, 30 people are going to have 30 different kind of conceptualizations. So when we say slavery in the U.S., we're thinking of typically of our own history. And I'm using that term only in the most broad sense. So you have a slave class by, I guess maybe one of the hallmarks there is that they are illiterate. So what's interesting, if you pick up a book on economics and it's full of archaic, formulas, it's full of, jargon that you don't understand, well, maybe there's a reason for that. It's that if you just give up, well, then you've just given up. So my point is, as I go forth on this Gatelynomics thing, I want everyone to feel comfortable with it, to bring up personal experience. In fact, that is the beating heart of Gatelynomics, is anecdote and personal experience. Because I'm questioning the world around me. What's really going on? Why is it the way that it is? And there have been times in my past when, because of fears, maybe irrational fears, I haven't acted on the truth. And so I want to ask questions. I want to figure it out. So that's the first rule of Fight Club. Well, the first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. I'm talking about, I think, the 7th or 8th one, which is you will fight, meaning nobody here is exempt from participating. Speak your mind, but speak it politely And it's okay to say, well, this is the experience that I've had, this is what I can contribute. As a corollary to that, I would say, meaning a corollary to the idea that Gatelynomics, as I'm calling it, I'm inventing this new thing, is that it is, we're actually going to disregard common knowledge. We're going to disregard people who tell us that things are a certain way. Because, well, how could that possibly help me? All right, so period. Let's compartmentalize that. I wanted to bring this up at the very beginning, which is I am only putting forth things humbly. I couldn't possibly always be right, and if I were always right, what a depressing place to be in. I have nothing more to learn. Everything I say is dogmatic, you know, and I don't like, I listen to radio shows, I listen to talk radio sometimes, not very often anymore, for entertainment, but not to get information. I really think books are the way to go for information. And what's my point here? Oh, I've never liked talk show hosts that treat people like they're dumb, that they just go, you know, I'm hanging up on it. I don't even want to talk to you anymore. That's ridiculous. Let's hear all sides. Let's really thrash it out and try and figure out what's happening to us. I'm interested in that. Why do I have to file a tax return every year? I've started looking at that and going, why is it anybody's business? What's the nature of money? What's the nature of the business that I'm doing? Why am I doing this? What's a job? How do you, define these things in a common everyday sense? And that gets to rule 2 of Gatelynomics, which is Gatelynomics rules regular economics. And here's why. Because it has more common potency. I don't know the word for it. What's it called when something is like commonly accepted, but it may or may not be true? Like almost like an old wives' tale. Feed a fever, starve a cold, or however that goes. Is that really true? Or that you have hay fever. No, what's actually happened is that pollen has created an allergic reaction. It's histamines have made you get all mucusy, and then at night the mucus cooks like scrambled eggs in your throat, and you get a bacterial infection. So you don't have a fever at all, you have a bacterial infection. And you got that because you left your window open. But you left your window open and it was cold outside, but it wasn't the cold that gave you a cold, it was allergens, basically. So, and that's an example. I never understood that until I went to a doctor and he was just like, oh, okay, here's your pills. I was like, whoa, 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 not so fast. I'm paying you to be here. I want you to teach me something. Enlighten me, Prometheus. And he explained that to me of like, how you get a bacterial infection. And then I was like, oh, okay. So every year I would take my, what are they called, antibiotics. And then I found out I didn't even need those. There's home remedies for that. There's, if you take antihistamines as a preventative measure, or even better, if you use an ancient Indian remedy called a neti pot, which is where you take saline water and you actually pour it in one nostril and out the other nostril. Oh, it's wild. But if you just do that a couple times, it just clears it right up. Clears it right up. All those years I suffered, but didn't know what was going on. So I'm going to take that same kind of thing and bring it to everyday money. So I don't want to discuss higher order stuff. I don't want to discuss, complicated things of established economic theory. That might be okay peripherally, but, well, what does it mean for the common man? How is it? So we're going to talk about money, we're going to talk about business, we're going to talk about personal finances, and we're going to untangle sort of the world that we live in, because I'm a believer in the common man. In fact, you may think, well, you're creating this sort of hocus pocus quackery thing, Gatelynomics, and I agree, it is. It's like, whoop, okay, this is what I'm thinking. But for me personally, I trust the opinion of regular people and the experience and the enlightenment of regular people as a whole more than I trust, quote, reliable sources. College textbooks, all formulaic, all pre-decided. Oh, no thank you. No thank you. I think that's why I love Wikipedia. But think about this: if you could get the personal, if you could understand, and somehow codify and make sense of the personal experience and anecdote of every single other person in the nation or the world, well, then you'd have something approximating the truth of finding out what's really, 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 really going on. And so there it is. That's sort of an introduction. So your first assignment is to opine something. One comment per person, please. And I am approving them. Don't take offense if I don't put yours through. Maybe I missed it. Maybe somebody kind of said the same thing. Or maybe I just had 100 comments at once. Yeah, I'd love to get it where I had, a group to help me kind of see things through. Because I admit my own fallibility. Maybe the conclusions I've come to so far, maybe they're wrong. Maybe I don't have it right, or maybe I can have something added that will help me see and understand things better. Because one thing I can attest, I've been in business for myself for 8 years now, and more information is better. Don't be afraid of the truth, because it hurts sometimes, but it's better to at least know what's really, really happening, and because then you can make an informed decision, you can do something about it. That old knowledge is power thing, I guess. So how many of you are thinking that? Well, that's all I have for this first installment. So I guess I'll just keep doing them open to the entire group. And then if I feel like it's getting a little dicey or people aren't interested, then by all means just don't watch these, or I'll put them on the blog as unlisted links. And so I think the next topic, which I'm going to write down right now, is what I call false economies. And I am very interested in this.